So this is another example for you out of your workbook on page 25, question 39. Here we're not given a table, we've got to kind of read some information out of the problem and make sense out of it. So over a 1-year period, in a city of 100,000 people in Russia, located near a nuclear facility, there were 50 birth deformities associated with radiation, while in another Russian city comprising 120,000 people, with no nuclear plant nearby, there were 15 birth deformities recorded. So what is the absolute risk of birth deformities in the two Russian cities? So remember, absolute risk is out of everyone. So in a sense, that's going to be the 100,000 people in the city with the nuclear facility near it, and the 120,000 people away from any nuclear plants. And on top is the total number of birth defects, so that's 50 plus 15. So this is 65 over 220,000. And that gets us 0.000295. So a less than 1% chance of having a birth defect. Okay, so remember, absolute risk is always out of everyone, so we had to put all those together. I've got 50 birth defects there, 15 there, so a total of 65 out of the total from both cities combined. The next question they're asking me is, what is the relative risk of birth deformities in the Russian city located near compared with no nuclear facility nearby? So here I need to know the risk of both. So I might put over here the risk near, so those with a plant nearby. What was that? That was 50 out of 100,000. So they had 50 birth defects out of 100,000. And that is equal to 0.0005. And then we can have the risk far, as in like no plant. Maybe we'll just put that. Risk no plant. So those that have no plant nearby. There was only 15 out of the 120,000. And that gets us 0.000125. So once you have those two individual risks here, they're not asking you to calculate them individually, but we know, well, I know, we need to find them to get a relative risk. Because remember, a relative risk is dividing or comparing two different probabilities, two different risks together. So remember, the compared to is the one that we put on bottom, so no nuclear facility, so we're going to put that number on bottom, 0.000125. And with the facility nearby, we have 0.0005. And when you put that into your calculator, you get a 4. So that's pretty significant. Remember, it's bigger than 1, so it's more likely that you'll have a birth defect. In question C, they're asking us for a relative risk again of birth deformities in a Russian city not located near the nuclear facility compared to those located with a nuclear facility nearby. So this is kind of the opposite situation. We're comparing it to the group with the facility, so that goes on the bottom. And on the top, we're comparing those without the facility. When you put that into your calculator, you get 1.25, which should make sense because that's the opposite of 4, and we've just flipped the fraction upside down. So this is less than 1, that means it's less likely. In this situation, we're saying it's less likely to have a birth defect if you are not near a facility. So when they ask us to write our conclusion here, maybe as an example I'll write it for both, but you can do just one if you like. So if I use part B, I can say that how would I want to say this? Let's go with babies. Babies born near nuclear facilities are 4 times more likely to have a birth defect. Oops. than babies born far, let's just say far away from a nuclear facility. So here we're saying that it's actually quite a significant risk to live near the nuclear plant. So their babies are 4 times more likely to have a birth defect compared to those that live with no nuclear facility nearby. Now if you wanted to, you could write this again with another interpretation. I'm not going to probably because we're out of room, but I'll speak to it anyways. I could have easily said, using this information here, that babies born near... Oh, I did it wrong, didn't I? Nope, just kidding, I got it right. So this was using part B with that 4, and here I'm saying those that are located near compared to those that are not located near. So here we're starting with near, comparing it to those that are far away. So that again was that they were 4 times more likely. I could use part C here, and I could say, well, if you're born in a city not near a nuclear facility, you're 0.25 times less likely to have a birth defect if compared to those that are born near a facility or with a facility nearby. So in this situation, if I use the 4, I'm going to use more likely. And with the 0.25, I'm going to use less likely. Because I'm saying here, if you're born near a facility, you're 4 times more likely. And here I'm saying if you're born far away from a facility, you're 0.25 times less likely. So it depends on how they ask you to write that fraction. And from there you can pick which one of those, in this case, you would interpret.